Hello, fellow Detroit Tigers fans, and the 2020 MLB draft is over with, and the Detroit Tigers, in my opinion, did phenomenal in this draft. I know it was only 6 picks, 5 rounds, but the Tigers nailed every single pick, in my opinion. Of course, we'll start with number 1 overall, Spencer Torkelson. He is the player that I absolutely wanted. I know they called him a third baseman, but I do think that he'll move to first base, especially with some of the picks that they just made later on, we'll talk about. And also a few players in their minor league system right now that play third, like Isaac Paredes, Nick Quintana, Andre Lipschitz. So, Spencer Torkelson, he does have a ton of versatility. Of course, he's huge power hitter. Even Alan Trammell saying that no park's going to hold him. He's actually been considered a decent fielding first baseman. He can actually move quite a bit. Some people say that he could play center field, maybe not on a regular basis, but tons of power, very good hitter, more walks and strikeouts. So definitely happy to see Torkelson. He is an impact bat. Then the second round happened, and there was a player that I really wanted the Tigers to take. Then they did not take him in the second round, but they took a first-round talent in Dylan Dingler, a catcher from Ohio State University. So at least we got somebody from Ohio. I was a little miffed that they didn't take anybody from Michigan because there was a ton of great players from Michigan on the board, but oh well. But Dylan Dingler, ton of athleticism behind the dish with a very strong arm. He played center field, a catcher. I believe he actually was considered the fastest player out of the 6 players the Tigers took. His speed was a 55, according to MLB.com. So that's very interesting, and he has a lot of raw power as well. Then the next pick was compensation round B, and then that's where they got the player I wanted in the second round, Daniel Cabrera, a left-handed outfielder from LSU, Louisiana State University. He has some good power, been a solid hitter, decent fielder, not an incredible throwing arm, but very good hitter, and he's about an average, maybe slightly below average runner, but he is who I wanted in the second round. But I was definitely happy with the Dingler pick, but we were still able to get Cabrera at 62 overall. Then the third round pick was player with very good baseball bloodlines in Trey Cruz, drafted as a shortstop out of Rice. Some do say he might have to necessitate a move to second or third, but there was talk that the Tigers might be looking for a future shortstop, so Cruz could possibly stick there. He showed some signs that he could possibly stick at shortstop this spring, but unfortunately that got shortened. But solid hitter, has a little pop in his bat. So, definitely a very cool pick. Then with their fourth round pick is actually a player that I was hoping they would draft in the third round, and that is Spencer Torkelson's teammate from Arizona State University, Gage Workman, a switch-hitting third baseman. He was the reason Torkelson played first, because Workman's such a good third baseman. Had a very good arm, very good power, average runner, and a solid fielder. So we could have 2 former Arizona State University teammates as the Tigers' corner infield spots, with Torkelson at first and Workman at third. That would be very cool. And then finally, for their 5th pick, was drafted as a third baseman yet again, but also he was a two-way player, a high school player named Colt Keese out of Biloxi, Mississippi. Left-handed batter. Looking at his scouting report, 50 hit, 50 run, 50 field, 45 power, 60 arm. And his pitching, 55 fastball, 55 curveball, 50 change, 50 control. Dang. I didn't look at his pitching before. So, he was actually, by MLB.com, was ranked 87th, and the Tigers got him with the 132nd pick in the 5th round. So, very interesting young player. Seems like a very good hitter. Unfortunately, didn't get to play really that much this year, so didn't really get to hear about him. But said to be a solid player, solid pitcher as well. The Tigers didn't draft him as a two-way player, but they could always develop him into that, because the Tigers aren't like steering away from that like other teams are, because a couple years ago they did have Caleb Cowart, former Angels player, in their system, and they were going to use him as a two-way player, but he ended up being claimed off waivers by the Angels again. So Tigers aren't shying away from that, so we very well could see a two-way player in Colt Keese. So I am a little surprised the Tigers didn't at least take one pitcher in the draft. Their first 5 picks were all college hitters, and then Colt Keese, high school hitter/pitcher, but I am surprised they didn't take a full-blown pitcher, at least one. So, but they definitely need a batsman system. This definitely helps. They got basically 2 first-rounders in Spencer Torkelson and Dylan Dingler. And then Daniel Cabrera, they got him almost at the 3rd round, and he was should have been a very high 2nd-round pick. So, Tigers get an A definitely for this draft. I love it, so hope you guys do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's go Tigers.